Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Dynasty After Dark. I'm your host, Calvin Timms, back with my co-host and one of my best friends, Dale. How's it going, Dale?
Hey, it is going great this Monday night.
Yeah, we just got to watch all the championship games last night. Officiating was garbage, but it is what it is.
Utterly.
We'll
Yes.
see. We'll see how it goes in the NFC or the Super Bowl now. But
Yes.
that said, you can follow me over on Twitter at TDC_Calvin, Dale on Twitter at Dynasty_Dale. Any questions you have this offseason, we're going to be here all offseason, going to be pumping out the content. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the video wherever you're listening to it. It just helps out with the algorithm and everything. We're trying to be pretty consistent, 4 podcasts a week the entire offseason, just to make sure that we're giving good content, good quality content the entire offseason. Not leaving any stones unturned. But that said, rookies are the biggest priority right now. And if you're listening to this, we just got done yesterday with our round 1 of the Superflex. And again, understand these are early rankings. These are not where I actually expect these players to go in your rookie drafts. But that said, all these picks, the biggest question is, what is their actual trade value? Where do these guys kind of come in? And you hear, oh, trade this guy for it. You hear all this talk in the offseason of, oh, yeah, I'd trade that guy for a first. Oh, yeah, get a second for that guy. But I really want to talk through with Dale today. We're going to put a line on some of these guys, where we think some of the existing players are worth, for an unknown first-round pick. And I've got down here at the bottom of the screen, you can see the first 2 rounds. So if you're watching, go look tomorrow, and you'll see our round 2 rankings there. And you'll hear our explanation for all that. Spoiler, we're recording this a little bit after round 2, but a little bit of a behind the scenes there. But we're going to talk through just the first round here and give our thoughts on existing players. So that said, anything else, Dale, before we jump into it?
Nope, I am ready to deep dive in this.
All right, so we're going to start with the 101, and we're going to go through some of these existing guys. Some of them, and this is all from a Superflex mindset as well, so you're not necessarily going to be able to get some of these players for one first. We're going to try and skip over some of those guys. The top 5, 6, maybe even quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson is probably where we can start. And I'm just kind of using a generic rankings. These are not my rankings, but this is just community rankings on these quarterbacks in Superflex. So pardon me if they're different from yours, but Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, I'm pretty sure none of those guys you're going to get for a single first. I mean, the 101 and maybe it'd probably take a mid first, just to get those top guys in a super flex. That's just how good they kind of are. It's just the price you got to pay for them. So Lamar Jackson is actually the first one, and Trevor Lawrence. I feel like Justin Fields, these 3 guys, 101, would you rather have the 101 or these 3 guys? Are we like Lamar Jackson? Is he still worth more than one first? That's where it's getting kind of close. There's a lot of ifs around Lamar Jackson. What are your thoughts on him?
No, I agree with that. I still think he has a really high rushing upside, and he's still going to if he plays. So, I really expect him to be playing for a couple more years. I would hope probably.
Yeah.
I would hope so, but it's hasn't trended very well the past couple years, which
Now,
makes it
I guess
tricky.
we'll go with it this way.
Yeah.
So personally, I think that Lamar, Lawrence, and Fields, I would rather have all of them than Bijan Robinson or the 101.
Yes.
So I still kind of put them
Absolutely.
in the upper tier.
Yeah.
Kyler is getting closer. Watson, is that where we kind of see the break line, I guess? Would you rather have, based on the first round rankings, CJ Stroud or Deshaun Watson? I think I still would rather have Deshaun Watson. It's getting very close. And, not using my rankings, you could put in Bryce Young, whoever you want, Anthony Richardson.
Right.
I think that's where I would finally break and take the 101 over Dak. Not that Dak's not good. I just don't trust this offense. They just got rid of Kellen Moore last night. Mike McCarthy is the lead candidate to be calling plays this offseason. And I just don't really trust Dak Prescott long
No,
term necessarily.
I agree. I
So
agree.
that's where it gets close. Now you're talking a high first still for Prescott here.
Mhm.
Top 3 pick. If I'm not getting
Yeah.
Stroud or Richardson, I don't want to trade. I'd rather have Dak Prescott. Like I don't want Bijan Robinson over Dak in a super flex.
Mhm. I agree.
JSN, as much as I agree with him, Jamar Gibbs. Are you kind of in the same boat there?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Okay. Now, next guy, you are a little bit more of a homer here. Tua. What about Tua? Is Tua worth where are we putting his value? CJ Stroud, Anthony
Um,
Richardson, or Tua? Bryce Young.
I think I would rather have Stroud or Anthony Richardson at that point because
What about Bryce?
I probably not probably probably be edging on Bryce.
Okay. So again,
Yeah.
these rankings that we have, these are not how I expect them to go. I expect Bryce Young to be like the number 1 or number 2 overall pick in rookie
Yeah.
drafts. So that's just kind of giving you a framework, right? So if we're saying the 101 for Tua, that's going to be kind of who you're giving up there, anticipated.
Yeah.
But we're saying we'd rather have Stroud and Anthony Richardson, which is the 3 or the 4 pick, than Tua.
Mhm.
So, if you can
Yeah.
get Tua for the 6, that's probably
Oh,
valuable, right? So,
yes. Yes,
um,
absolutely.
I'm just a little nervous about Tua long term. The concussion thing does definitely
Mhm.
make
Worry
you
me.
very nervous.
Yes.
Like once you start getting with the
Very, very
brain,
nervous.
you know, there's like the next guy, Trey Lance, right? He broke his leg. It's kind of a
Yeah.
freak injury, right? But the brain, when the leg is fully healthy, it's fully healthy. It's not going to break again
Yes.
on you because it's fully recovered. You never know if your brain's fully recovered at that point. So, Tua, I'd rather have, I'd probably rather have a top 4 pick than Tua. That's kind of where I'm at right now.
Mhm.
Um, right in that middle of the round, probably 105 to 107 ish is where I'd give up for Tua if I could. If you're
Yep.
getting later than that, keep Tua. I think he's more valuable to just take the risk on him health wise at that point.
I agree.
All right,
No, yeah,
go,
I
go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, yeah. No, I was gonna say I agree on that. I think he would be fine in that mid spot, but
Okay.
because that's in rookie drafts where it gets a little bit more iffy compared to the top of the draft where you kind
Mm-hmm.
of know you have your studs.
All right. So basically, if you're listening, for the quarterbacks, until you get down to Prescott, high first
Yep.
round pick for Prescott. Other than
Yep.
that, you're probably just keeping your first round picks for,
Yes.
keeping your quarterbacks at least, not giving
Yeah.
them up for a first round pick. If you have Prescott and you can get a top pick in this draft, I would do that. Same with Tua.
Mhm.
If you're moving Tua,
Yep.
at least
Yep.
the 7 or better. Next guy is another interesting guy, Trey Lance. What are we thinking about Trey Lance? So, the Purdy experiment got off to a very rocky start last night in the championship
Yeah.
game, was not able to do it. I honestly think that they
Yeah.
would have had a chance if Purdy hadn't gotten injured on the second
Yep.
play of the game for him. It was
Yeah.
brutal, man. And did you see the
Was.
news reports? It's 6 months.
Y-
He tore
yes.
his his tendon
UCL.
or whatever. Yeah,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
goodness.
It is not good, and it's looking more and more like Tom Brady's gonna be the guy.
Yeah, yep. So
It
let's
is.
assume like we've been all offseason that Trey Lance is going to get traded here. Unknown destination, Houston, Indy, Carolina, somewhere like that. Trey Lance, what is he worth in terms of a first? Is he still worth a first?
I would
I
say
say
yes.
yes. Yep. Okay,
Yes.
so where are you
Yes.
feeling in the first round here?
I would feel comfortable probably like 7, like probably after 7, like probably like 8 to the end of the first round. I would be more than comfortable with trading for him.
Okay.
But trading for him, but trading him, I would probably want like the 5 or 6 because he has that boom potential and he has
Right.
that rushing upside that we wanted to see this year.
Right. I would say if you can trade Trey Lance for Anthony Richardson,
Yeah.
if you're selling Trey Lance, you have to be at least
Yeah.
getting Anthony Richardson in this draft.
Yes. Yes.
So you know,
100%.
I think that Richardson's going to be a top 4 pick. I could be wrong on that. It all kind of depends on draft capital. But like Will Levis, I'm not doing it for Will Levis. I'm not doing it for Bryce
Yeah.
Young or even Hendon
Yep.
Hooker. As much as I love Hendon Hooker,
Right. Yep.
so Trey Lance, I'm saying you have to get Anthony Richardson. So wherever that kind of consensus starts to fall, I think that's going to be a top 5 pick, you know, right around 4 or 5. Other than that, I'm probably keeping Trey Lance. He's 22 years old. I get it. He's raw still. We haven't seen a lot. But of the top 13 guys, the next youngest quarterback is going to be Trevor Lawrence at 23, Justin Fields at 23, and then 24 for Tua. Everyone else is getting up there in age. And it's just you gotta hold this guy and see what he can do. He's still the youngest quarterback in the NFL at 22 years old. That is crazy, right?
And he's going into his 3rd year. And I think with that, in most of the rookie drafts that he went into, like I think he got picked top 3. So, you know, I think I mean honestly, if I'm going to trade him, I would want a similar pick to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yep. I agree with you 100%.
So I mean, I don't think you would. I'm not sure if you would necessarily get that for him right now. For some people's viewpoint, because we're not sure where he's going to land. But I still think he would be someone to invest in. You know, in my opinion.
To me, this sounds like there's a massive buying opportunity for Trey Lance. So if you're saying you'd be willing to, you know, if you can get him for 8, 7, 8, 9, 10, somewhere in that range. Jump all over that, because I don't think Anthony Richardson is there. Yeah, I don't think Anthony Richardson's there, and I just think that he's way more valuable than Bryce Young. I think he's way more valuable than Hendon Hooker or Will Levis or some of these other guys. So, all right, so Trey Lance, that's where we're kind of feeling on him. Next guy, Aaron Rodgers. I don't even think I'd give up a first for Aaron Rodgers right now, to be honest with you.
No, I want it now.
He could be retired by the time that this comes out. We have no idea. He could retire tonight. Who knows?
Right.
All right, so maybe a second round. Maybe we get into him in the next one. Kirk Cousins, I think there's a little bit of disrespect. I'd probably give a late first for Kirk Cousins. You know, if you're really needing to get out on Kirk Cousins, the problem is he's 34 years old. He's not really that old, and he's been solid his entire, you know, career. So are you really upgrading if you're selling him for a late first? That's kind of the question in Superflex. That's
right.
That's if you're going to get Kirk Cousins, you know, if you're going to give up Kirk Cousins, the best you're probably going to get is a late first. And is it worth it at that point? That's the question.
I think I would rather have Kirk Cousins at that point.
So you're saying he'd probably be, again, Anthony Richardson. That's the only real upgrade. You know, Bryce Young or Kirk Cousins.
Honestly. I mean, I would probably still want Kirk Cousins because I know he has a solid floor. And, you know, I think Young is an interesting prospect, but I would rather have the offense Cousins has than the offense I know Bryce Young will have.
In Houston?
Yes,
right.
yeah. In all honesty, yes.
Yeah, so that's the question. And again, we're expecting Young to be very, very high. So let's say, for example, CJ Stroud falls a little bit, or Anthony Richardson, or one of these other guys. Let's assume that one of those guys are falling. That's just a massive buying opportunity. But even Hendon Hooker, I'd rather have Kirk Cousins. And again, as much as I love Hendon Hooker, there's a lot of question marks still around him. I get that. So if I'm not getting one of those top 2 guys, I'm probably out and keeping Kirk Cousins. Same with this next guy, Russell Wilson. I get it. It was a down year. They're trying to make it better. His contract is locked up forever. Like, they're not going to be able to move on for him forever. So it feels gross. So you're probably just sticking with Russ. Like, Russ is probably the best buy this entire offseason, in my opinion.
Absolutely. No, I completely agree with that. And I think how he played with I think how he played without Hackett is how he's probably going to play next year.
Yeah.
Honestly. So, you know, I mean, I would be buying him all over if you could.
All right, next guy, Matt Stafford. We're getting towards the range where, you know, we're nearing the end of the first round guys at quarterback. We'll touch on some of the other positions briefly here. Matt Stafford, I still think that I'd probably rather have Bryce Young. I think this is the first one where I'd rather have late first
Yes.
for Matt Stafford just to get out from that. He's probably going to be better for fantasy than what you're going to get for him in the
Mhm.
late first, but I
Yep.
think that it's close. This is an expiring asset essentially. All
Yes.
the injuries have kind of just started to pile up on Stafford, and you feel for the guy, but the McVay retirement rumors are going to just continue for now until he
Year
pulls a Peyton.
years on end,
Yeah,
yes, I
right.
agree with that.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. I don't I mean, if you can get a late first for Stafford, I would be more than happy with that.
All right.
More than
Next
happy.
next guy, Derek Carr. I'm not giving up a first for Derek Carr. Gonna be traded.
Really?
I
Really?
no, dude. He's gonna be traded, and he's had one season as a top 12 guy. Like, what's the upside on Derek Carr? He's going to a new team. The Raiders,
Yeah,
like, he couldn't even be good with Josh McDaniels, who's an offensive minded guy, like with the
true.
best weapons of his career. It's just Derek Carr's never gonna be a thing. He's fetch, man. Stop trying to make fetch a thing. That's what.
With that, I would rather have Derek Carr than Matt Stafford, so I think I would be very
I would rather have
content.
Stafford. I think Stafford actually helps you win more. That's the difference. From
He
a fantasy
he that
perspective, Stafford has a higher ceiling, in my opinion.
I think going off of Stafford's, 2021 season, I would beg to differ a little bit because he was very inconsistent.
Yeah.
So I kinda expect that Stafford more the later years in his
Hey,
career than
I gotta live up to my. I gotta
that's
be
just
on
how
brand, man. I hate Derek
I
Carr,
know.
so.
I know you do, like, I wasn't sure if you hated him, but
Oh,
now I'm
it's
very certain
bad,
that you
man.
do.
It's really bad. And
It
I don't
is
like him.
yeah.
All right, last two guys we'll mention here: Daniel Jones, Kenny Pickett. Either one of those guys worth a first. Daniel Jones he's
Daniel Jones
sneaky.
is interesting.
He's sneaky.
He's interesting. I think if he re-signs with the Giants,
Right.
yes. If he goes anywhere else, I am hands off. I'm not I don't
It depends on the
I would
contract too. That's
it
the one
does,
thing
it
I want to
does,
see. If it's like
it
if
does.
it's like the Mariota or the Trubisky contract, 2
Mhm.
years kind of front, like, oh, it's a 4-year deal, 3-year deal, but it's all front loaded in the first
Right,
like year. I'm probably
right.
not gonna spend any capital on Daniel
Yes,
Jones. Kenny Pickett,
absolutely.
I'm not spending a first on him at
No,
all.
I
I
am
dislike him
yeah,
a lot.
I don't want any Kenny Pickett. I think if he as long as he has Matt Canada there, I am not touching any Steeler. I don't want any of that offense,
All
personally.
right. So, Daniel Jones may be a late first.
Mhm.
TBD. If you're trading for Daniel Jones, wait until after the contract. Just there's too much
Yes,
risk
yes.
right now. Wait till after the contract. Kenny Pickett, I'm out. Last guy I did
Yeah.
want to mention here, Jared Goff. Would you give up a late first for Jared
Mm.
Goff?
Yes,
Malik,
yes.
I guess, or Will Levis or Jared Goff?
Jared Goff.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. Bryce Young or Jared
Absolutely.
Goff?
Uh, right now, Jared Goff. I think
I think so too.
that gets a little tricky though, because
Dude, he's
I
only
think
28
I
years old. He could be around for
I
a
know,
long time, and he's been
I know.
good, man. Like
I know.
I get it's easy to clown
He
on
was
him.
very good last. Oh, it
Yeah.
is, but he was very good last year, and I think he's gonna like I can honestly see him being the quarterback of the future for the Lions. On a team friendly deal, obviously,
All
but
right.
yeah, yeah.
All right. All right. So that's quarterbacks. Let's switch over to running backs here. And again, the nice thing is in this draft, we have all of the positions in the first round, right? So we can kind of have a pretty clear delineation there. I think pretty much universally, if you can get the 101 for any of these guys to get Brees, 101, 102, Brees, sorry, not Brees, Bijan Robinson
Deshaun,
over
yeah,
Brees Hall, yes, rather have that. Jonathan Taylor,
yeah,
I'd rather have Bijan, Kenneth Walker, Saquon,
yeah,
all these guys.
yeah.
It's just there's the hype. I get it, and I don't love that I'm ranking him this high sight on scene, but the value that you can get for Bijan Robinson, you
Hmm.
can just take him and flip him, even if you don't believe in him to be higher than these guys.
Yes,
Just take him and
yeah,
sell him. Like,
yeah.
so yeah, he's definitely. I'd rather have these guys are not worth anything that high. So let's kind of go to the next guy, Jahmyr Gibbs, Brees Hall. Give me Brees, JT, Kenneth Walker.
Yeah.
Saquon, CMC, ETN. Who would you rather have, them or Jameer? That's where it gets close.
Mm, yeah, I mean, I would still rather have CMC. Like, I
I'd
mean,
rather have.
at the
I
very
would rather
least,
have all three of those. I think. I think I'd
yeah,
rather
yeah,
have
yeah,
Barkley
yeah,
and
yeah,
McCaffrey.
yeah.
I think
Because
Gibbs over ETN. ETN is just a
I
little scary.
yeah, with
Mm-hmm.
his size and production that he had when he was the guy, like
Mm-hmm.
he's too hit or miss for my
Yeah.
liking.
Yep. I'm with you.
Yeah,
Eckler, he's just getting older. Josh
yeah.
Jacobs. Oh,
He
that's tough.
he's almost to that 28 or 27, 28 threshold. So I think I would rather have Gibbs.
Jacobs? What do you mean? He's only 24 right now.
He's only 24. I
Yeah, dude,
thought he
he's
was like
so young.
26.
That's why I've been so
Jeez,
high on Josh Jacobs.
peesh.
He's only 24. And this is his 5th year. He came out so early. He was 20 his first
He
year.
is only 24. My gosh, I thought he was much
Yeah, I
older than
know,
that.
right?
Oh,
It's crazy. So Josh Jacobs is
wild.
sneaky interesting. I actually probably would rather have Josh
Yeah,
Jacobs than Gibbs.
yeah, yeah. I agree with that now that I know his age, yeah, I would much rather have Jacobs.
Swift or Gibbs?
Ooh, ooh, that's where it gets tough.
I
'Cause
think I'd
I
rather have
like
Swift
yeah, I think
still, but
I'm
it's close. It's
leaning
very,
Swift.
very close.
Yeah, it's getting much closer, yeah.
Yep. Nick
Yeah, because
Chubb,
because
Joe Mixon. I'd rather have Gibbs over both those. Ramondre, Javante,
I
the injury.
I s
The injury
that's
sucks for Javante. It really does.
yeah,
He's only 22 though, so I mean, I'd probably still take Javante over Gibbs, but
yeah,
it's it's a coin
it's
flip. If you want
worrisome.
out
It's yeah,
on
it's
the
worrisome,
injury,
yeah.
if you want out on
Yeah,
the Javante Williams injury and you can get the 105 roughly, I'd probably do it.
perfect.
Probably
Yes,
do it.
yes, I would too. I would too.
Derrick Henry, Najee, I'd rather have Gibbs and than all those guys.
Yep,
Tony Pollard,
yep,
Dalvin Cook. So
yeah.
basically, if you can get a top, 6 pick for um, Brees Hall, Jonathan Taylor, like, yeah, I would definitely rather have these guys than the 6 pick, right? So
Yeah,
it'd take more than that, and that's kind of the difference there. The problem is there's no running back that you're going to get one off other than Bijan Robinson, right? So all the rest of these guys, I think, are kind of off the table. You could look at across the position at JSN. I'd probably rather have most of these running backs than JSN sight on scene, to be honest with you.
yeah,
But it's getting closer. So maybe those guys that we said, the Swifts, the Jacobs, if you're out on them, but I'd rather have if you can sell Joe Mixon for the top 6 pick, Nick Chubb, Austin Eckler, Travis Etienne,
I mean, with Mixon, I think he's
Ramondre.
an interesting one. Yeah, I think Mixon would be interesting. I think he's of that group. He's probably the one I would sell, like would get the least of that group. I think.
I think so too. I think he's kind of
Yeah.
overinflated, but
Yes.
he's been good. He's just not been.
Has been.
He had some big weeks this last year, so I could see it.
He had one very big week, and then the rest of his weeks were very mediocre. I
All right,
felt.
so then I guess if we're saying, I'm just trying to keep track of this.
Yep.
ETN, you'd rather have Gibbs, but would you rather have Kendra
Yep.
Miller or ETN?
Probably ETN.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's close, man. I'd probably rather have
Yeah,
Kendra,
it's
but
close. It's
assuming
close.
Kendra goes
It's
to a
very
good spot, that's kind of the
yes.
stickler.
Yes. I think that's very close though.
All right, so Eckler, I'd rather have Eckler than Miller.
Yep.
So
Yep.
basically, Eckler if you're getting a top 6 pick, otherwise
Mhm.
keep him.
Yes, yes.
Nick Chubb, we kind of said sell out there. Swift again, I'd rather have him. So he's a top 6 guy, top 5 guy. Ramondre
Mhm.
Stevenson or Kendra Miller, dude. People are so high on Ramondre, and it's New England.
I know.
I
I know.
cannot trust it. And Bill O'Brien's coming back.
uh-huh. Like I also really like Stevenson, and I thought about getting him in a league, but
The problem is we saw
I
what
don't
Pierre
want.
Strong could do in a game. Like we
Yeah.
saw what Pierre Strong could do. It's just it's
Yes.
New England, man. I can't get on
Yes.
board with Ramondre for a first. I
Yes.
can't. Like if you can sell Ramondre for a
Yes.
first, do it 100% because
Yes.
this guy is
Yes. I
guaranteed
agree.
nothing, and his fumbling
I
problem
agree.
is going to get him
It's
kicked
bad.
off this team, man.
Benched quickly. Yes.
Like
Yes.
it's happened already enough times, and I think Bill Belichick's starting to get tired of it. Javonte definitely would rather have Javonte than Kendre,
Mm.
but so
Yep.
basically these remaining guys, Travis Etienne, mid first round pick.
Yeah.
Again, Jacobs top pick there. DeAndre Swift top pick. Nick Chubb mid
Yep.
first there.
Yeah.
Joe
Mid.
Mixon,
Yep.
if you can get a mid first for Joe Mixon, do it
Absolutely.
100%. Top 9
Do it
pick.
now. Yeah.
Yep. Ramondre,
Yes.
same
Yep.
thing. I don't think you'll be able to. Derrick Henry, Najee. I would sell all these guys for Ken. Well, Najee's tough, man. What? Real quick, let's talk on Najee. Is Najee worth more than Kendre Miller? If you're not getting Jahmyr Gibbs, are you keeping Najee? I would probably keep Najee.
Yeah, I think I would at that fixture. Yes.
Like Najee was better than Gibbs on the same team, Were they on the same team? No, actually I think Gibbs came in the year after Najee, the year Najee got drafted.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Kamara, Damian Pierce, any of these guys worth a first? J.K. Dobbins. This is where
J.K. I think Dobbins would be worth.
I don't think he's worth the first
how
right now. I think that's
I
where
think
he
he's
probably should be
really.
going. Like I'd rather have J.K.
Yeah.
Dobbins than
Yeah.
Zach Charbonnet, but I don't think he's worth it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right
That's
now.
fair.
Derrick Henry.
That's
If you
fair.
can get who would you rather have, Derrick Henry or Zach Charbonnet? Dude, basically if you can get a first for Derrick Henry at this point, do it 100%.
I would
He's
do
about to
it.
be
Yeah.
30.
Yeah. Yeah. I would. Yeah. I would rather have Charbonnet or or like somebody in that range. Yeah.
Right. Yep. So yeah, that's where it's kind of getting close. Again, Najee, definitely I'd rather have Najee than Kendre Miller than Zach Charbonnet. So, if you're getting a top 5-6 pick for Najee, I'd probably consider it, but I don't know if people are offering that right now. What about Tony Pollard? That injury was brutal, especially going into the
really hurts
offseason,
him.
right?
That hurts him so much.
What was the
That hurts him
exact
a
injury? Do you
lot.
remember?
So, I think he.
It wasn't an ACL, was it?
No, it was not an ACL.
Tony Pollard,
Okay,
I think I'd rather have Tony. Him and Kendre are probably about the same. So if you
Similar, yeah, it was a high ankle sprain.
okay, so
Yeah.
he'll be fine for next year then.
Yeah.
Dalvin
Yeah.
Cook, same thing. Like if I could get a late first for those guys, I would probably sell out. Especially on
Yeah.
Dalvin for sure. Aaron Jones,
Yeah, yeah.
JK, I don't think you're going to get a first for him, but I think he's worth that. I would hold on him right now.
Yes, yeah, I would, yeah, I mean, definitely. I think he's definitely worth like a mid late first on JK.
Damian Pierce.
Personally, yeah, I'm out on Damian Pierce.
I think he's. I'd rather
I
have
don't.
Damian Pierce than Zach Charbonnet. I'm not gonna lie to you. If you can, I'd
I
rather.
think I would rather have Charbonnet than
Real
Pierce.
dude, he was so good though.
I don't care. I have seen it before.
Hater.
I don't care. I will be. I will be, and I want to be proven wrong because I want people to do good. But I just I see potential, but I don't see a future. I guess if that makes sense. Like
I think he's too good.
I
He showed too much. The problem with Damian Pierce is he never got that much of a workload in college. I get it. I get that argument. He overexceeded what his highest carry count for Houston this year. Performed pretty well until the very end. Give him an off season to get healthy, to get stronger in the weight room, and I think he'll be just fine. I think he'll be just fine. We'll see. We'll see. All right, wide receivers here. Let's go through a couple of these guys. I don't think you're getting, Here's a question for you. Bijan Robinson or Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, A.J. Brown,
want all
Lamb.
3 of those. I want all 4
I
of
want
those.
all I want the wide receivers more.
Yeah,
Jalen
all
Waddle.
All of them. Even Waddle. Yep. Waddle.
Higgins, I'd rather
Yeah.
have Robinson. I think that's kind of where the
Yeah.
drop off is.
Yeah.
Tyreek
Yeah.
Hill, Robinson, give me that. Tyreek's just getting older. He's so
Yeah.
good though. He is so good.
I think that's closer for me because I know he's so good and he still has speed, man. He
He
still has
does, but it's just,
speed kill.
dude, he's 28.
I
Like,
know.
how long is he going to be able to
I
continue to
know.
do this? That's the
Uh,
question, right? Like, he might be able
that's
to do this
very
for another
fair.
3-4 years,
That's
but
very fair.
Bijan is 21 years old. Like, I'd
Yeah.
rather just get the young running back at that point, even if it's,
Fair
I
enough.
get
Yeah.
it. It's a, you're trading down a little bit in terms of production, but
Mhm.
I just want the longevity there. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Garrett Wilson. I'd rather have Robinson, I think, than both those
Yeah,
guys.
I would rather have Robinson. Yeah.
All right. So then what about, all the quarterbacks like CJ Stroud, Bryce Young? Where's the tier break there where you'd rather have? So basically like the 101 to 103, where would it be? For me, it's probably T. Higgins,
Yeah.
Like I'd rather
Yeah.
have the
I would
quarterbacks
agree.
over T. I'd probably rather have CeeDee Lamb over the quarterbacks, Jalen Waddle over the
Yep.
quarterbacks, but
Yeah.
T, that's where it kind of drops right there.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that.
All right.
So
So go ahead.
like how about like Diggs?
Well, we can
how
talk
you
on him
using
here
it?
in a second.
Okay.
I think he's probably worth, like, who would you rather have, JSN or Diggs?
Like
Quinton,
JSN.
Quinton Johnston or Diggs?
I would rather have Diggs.
So Diggs is probably a mid first.
Yeah.
And I think that most of these guys here are probably mid first. Like Amon-Ra St. Brown, T. Higgins.
Yeah.
Like, who would you rather have, T. Higgins or JSN? T. Higgins, 100%.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I get the potential for JSN, but
Yes.
I'd probably still take JSN. If you can get a top 5 pick for Tyreek, I'm probably doing that. Just because,
Yep.
again, longevity. I think that if you're contending and you think you have a good chance at the belt, just keep Tyreek, because you're going to
Mhm.
be trading down in production for
Yes.
longevity.
Yes,
And
I agree.
I think that's kind of the biggest thing to recognize there. Amon-Ra St. Brown or JSN. Give me, this might be controversial, but give me Amon-Ra, man. I like him so
That's
much.
fair.
Um,
That's fair.
Give me
Yeah,
JSN
no,
over
I I
Garrett.
I think that's pretty close.
It's
I
close.
really like Garrett. I like Garrett Wilson, and if he gets Aaron Rodgers, I think his value
Yeah, that would
explodes.
help.
I
That would definitely help.
it's going to explode this offseason. So
I would still probably
I
sell him,
think
to be honest with you.
that's very fair. That's fair.
I saw a mock from Milk Hyper that had them taking JSN. Like, what? Why?
Why?
Why? Anyway, not to derail us too much here. But yeah, I think that Garrett Wilson, he was pretty much like a top 5 pick last year in the draft class because there's no quarterbacks
Yeah.
at all in
Yep.
Superflex. So
Yeah.
you kind of have to get that much back for him right now,
I
even if
agree.
it's not worth it. Like, I'd rather have
Yep.
Wilson over Jahmyr Gibbs probably.
Yes. Yep.
But
I would too.
JSN, the question is, where
I
does
think that
JSN actually fall in
then
rookie
go.
drafts?
Yeah. Yes, I
Like,
agree.
I
I agree
think
with that.
and that's the problem with this year's rookie wide receiver class. There's a big gap between JSN and Quentin Johnson. Like, I'd rather have all the guys we
Mm.
mentioned over Quentin Johnston, and I like Quentin
Yep.
Johnston.
Agreed. Yeah, I
Like,
agree. I'm the same way.
I'd rather have Diggs over him. I think Drake London versus Quentin Johnson is close. That's right in the range
Yeah.
of where those players are. So, um, you know, Drake London for a mid first. Devontae Adams, I'm selling out on him if I can. New quarterback, it's going to be
Mm.
a nightmare over there in Vegas, man. I mean,
In
what are they going to
Vegas,
do?
yeah.
They're probably going to go get Jimmy Garoppolo, to be honest with you. It might be okay, but
Well,
probably not.
I think I mean, I would rather have Derek Carr over Jimmy Garoppolo, but I'm
I
sure you'll
agree with
fight me
that,
for
and I
that.
hate Derek Carr. So, there's that. Debo Samuel, I'd rather have him over Quentin Johnson. People are so down
Yeah.
on Debo right now. Olave, Metcalf. Metcalf's so crazy low right now. Like, I'd rather have Metcalf over JSN.
I think
It's close.
I really like JSN's PPR value. I think
Yeah,
he's going to be a PPR monster. I really
it's
do.
close. It's close.
Yeah.
And then Diggs, we already talked about him. So, I guess
Mhm.
who would you not give a first round pick for? Let's go down the list here. So Drake London, Cooper Kupp, Chris Godwin. I don't think most people would give a first for Chris Godwin. I think he's worth a first right now.
Yes. Yes, I agree with that.
Even if Tom moves on, I just think that they're going to do
I
something,
still yes.
whether it's Derek Carr, whether it's
Something
Jimmy
yes.
Garoppolo, one of these vet guys.
Yeah.
Michael Pittman. I'm not giving a first for Michael
Mm.
Pittman.
No, I'm not now. No.
Devonta Smith.
I'm out on yeah. I would give a first for Devonta Smith.
I would too. I
I think
think
I would.
late
I would.
first. Like you're
Yes.
talking, yeah. I'd much rather have Devon Smith than Keyshawn Boutte. I'd
Mhm.
probably rather have
Yep.
Quentin Johnson just because of the upside.
Yeah. Yep.
Traylon
I'm same
Burks.
boat.
I'd rather have
I would
Burks than Johnston.
yeah.
It's close. That's a
Really?
really close one.
Really?
I like
Yeah,
Traylon Burks, man. I really like the talent of Traylon Burks.
I feel they're very similar players. So
I agree.
I
I agree.
I think it
They're
depends
different
what
though. Like Quentin Johnson is just
yeah,
so fast. Like he's
fast.
big, but he's
Yes.
fast. Like Traylon Burks is more of
Yes.
a I'm a
Is just
bully, but
big.
yeah, he's bully
Yeah.
ball, right?
Yeah.
DJ Moore, Terry McLaurin, Hollywood, Jerry
Mm.
Jeudy is the one that is on this list. Like, man, this just shows you the depth of wide receiver. It is nuts. Like we're in wide receiver like 26 is Jerry Jeudy,
Yeah.
27, and I'd rather have these guys than a first, like a late first in this year's draft class. Like that's
Yeah.
just it's crazy how deep wide receiver is right now. Oh
Yes.
my goodness. Yeah, it's tough to really give you value on wide receivers because it's so deep. Like if you're not getting a first for most of these guys, and like
Mhm.
probably a mid first up until around Chris
Yep.
Godwin, right? Cooper
Yep.
Kupp, Chris Godwin, Michael Pittman, I'm not giving a first, but Devonta Smith,
Mhm.
like
Yep.
all these guys are top 9 picks, right? So
Yes.
if you're not
Absolutely.
getting that, it's probably not worth it. Like DJ Moore, I don't think you can sell him for less than a first, to be
Mhm.
honest with you.
Yeah. I agree.
I'd probably buy in if it was like the 201, but that's where it's tough, right? The
Mhm.
question mark of quarterback, but he is only 25. They got Frank Reich now. He's probably worth a late first. Terry McLaurin, same thing. Hollywood, same
Mhm.
thing.
Yeah.
Pickens, he was a early second last year, late first last year. Christian Watson, same thing. Jerry Jeudy, first round pick, late. Jerry Jeudy's an awesome buy right now. Jameson Williams,
Absolutely.
awesome buy right now. Brandon Ayuk, awesome buy right now.
I'm a little worried about Williams. I'm worried about Williamson's value. I think he's getting a lot of hype, a lot of
Uh,
overhype in my opinion.
if you can sell him
From what
for,
I've seen.
so I would probably rather have Quentin Johnston than JMO right now.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
really high on JMO, but I don't want to sell out too quickly on him. I think it's close though. I like Jameson Williams
Yeah.
a lot, and he was very high on my board last year, so I don't want to sell out too quickly on him.
Yeah.
So I just want to hedge a little bit there. But these younger guys here in the late 20s at wide receiver, like I'd probably rather have them than Quentin Johnson for the most part. It's close. It's
Yeah.
very, very close. But I'd rather have all of them over Keyshawn Boutte. That's just the strength of
Yes.
this wide receiver class. Jahan Dotson, that's probably where I'd rather have Boutte. Mike Evans, Amari Cooper, Deontay Johnson. I'm just going for the longevity play there versus
Mhm.
these guys. So that
Yeah.
seems to be the line. Rashad Bateman is the last guy here to talk on. Do you think he's still worth a first? He should be.
He should be.
I don't
He
think
should be, but
I don't know if you can get
I
it
don't
for
think you
him.
get it.
He's
Yeah.
probably an
Yeah.
amazing buy as well.
Yes.
Because you got to think the Ravens, they're probably getting Lamar back. Let's just be realistic. They're
are.
probably getting
Yes.
Lamar back.
Yes.
They got rid
Yep.
of Greg Roman, and
Yes.
Lamar's been complaining about, being so run focused for years now. They're trying to make a pass game work for the team. Greg Roman just can't get it done.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
depending on who they get, I could really see a big year for Rashad Bateman, and he was starting to show out before he got injured this year. So it's just unfortunate. So don't want to write him off too much there. I guess last thing here, a couple tight ends we'll talk on. Hawkinson, Kittle, all these guys, Mark Andrews, Kyle Pitts, Travis Kelce. I'd rather have them, Bijan, or maybe the couple top quarterbacks versus these guys is where I draw the line. But other than that, Michael Mayer, Jahmyr Gibbs, I'd rather have these guys than all of them. That's just kind of the value there. So top 3 pick for any of these tight ends for Andrews, Pitts, Hawkinson, Kelce, I'd probably sell. It's tough. He's getting older. He'll be 34 next season. He's still playing well, still playing really well. But
I know.
The end is coming. I'd rather be too early than too late on Kelce.
Yes, I agree.
Kittle, I'd rather have one of those top players. I still think Kittle's going to be very, very good, but it's getting closer.
Well,
Dallas
on that value, like where do you? Well, because I recently traded for Kittle. I traded for Kittle and Swift in a league, and I traded JMO in a 24. It's probably going to be a late first. So, I really think I got really good value, but
you got Kittle for JMO in a first.
No, I got Kittle, Swift. I got Kittle and Swift. Yeah, I got
JMO in a first.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I like that. I mean, a late first, it's close. That's where it's close. But I still Kittle's only 29. He's been very good. Yeah. He started the season slow because of the injury, and then he was very, very good after that. Like, he finished half a point behind Mark Andrews this last year. Half a point. So, Andrews was still kind of iffy as well, but Kittle's really good. He's really good.
Yeah.
Michael Mayer or Dallas Goedert? Who would you rather have there? I think I'd rather have Goddard. Still,
I was about to say Mayer. I was going to say Mayer because I think I'm ready for the transition. Yeah,
mid first for Goddard.
Yeah,
I'd probably still hold, Goddard for that. I think that he's been very good when he's out there, especially this year. Freiermuth or Michael Mayer, I'd probably rather have Mayer.
Yeah.
I like Freiermuth, but he's tied to Pitt for too long.
Right. Well, and then with Freiermuth, like he's had concussion problems, so like he's one that's had a lot of those. Yeah.
Darren Waller, give me Michael Mayer just for longevity there. Again, same with Devontae Adams, just too much
uncertainty.
Yeah, uncertainty with Las Vegas. David Njoku, Dalton Schultz, give me Mayer over all these guys. So,
all day. Yes.
I don't even think you can get a first for any of these guys, really. No. Would you rather have Zach Charbonnet or Darren Waller? Keishon Boutte or Darren Waller? It's kind of close there. Freiermuth, same thing, like a late first for him. I'd probably rather have them than the late first, but it's getting really close. David Njoku,
that's close. Yeah,
can't stay healthy. Cole Kmet, what could have been? There's still always a chance, but Trey McBride, Greg Dulcich, Evan Ingram, these guys aren't worth the first. So tight end, it's rough in the streets, man. Rough in the streets.
I think where it gets interesting though is if you're in a tight end premium, and that really
changes things way too much. These guys
that just change a lot.
It changes it way too much. It gets too hard to value them because it's that's where it gets really tough. But
it does.
All right, so that's kind of where we value the 2023 first round picks. Whether you have one of those picks and you're looking to sell it, this is probably who you're going to be able to get. Kind of look at it that way. Or if you have some of these players and you're trying to sell them for draft picks, this is what you should be aiming for. And if you don't get those values on them, I'd probably just keep the player. So that's our thoughts there. We're going to be back with second rounders. Those are a little bit easier. Those are a lot more subjective as well. It seems like when it comes to rookie drafts, people care a lot less about second round picks. They're willing to blow those on known talent a lot more.
Yep.
So you might be able to get way better players for. It really depends on people's preferences, right? If they're much more heavy in the draft side, people are way more willing to blow second round picks on known players, even if those known players are good, right? So we'll talk on some of these guys for seconds here. You'll see that after tomorrow. You can check out our rankings on the second round here that you got leaked a little bit early here. But no, listen to the podcast tomorrow. Let us know your thoughts. Again, you can find us over on Twitter at TDC_Calvin, at Twitter at Dynasty_Dale. I cannot talk. I got mush mouth today, man. It's crazy. Any last thoughts before we get out of here?
Nope.
All right. Thank you guys so much for listening. Have a good night.